Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast on this 24th of February 2020. I'm your host, Cyril Gerald-Quinn, discussing the world of sports and pop culture. As always, we are streaming live here on my YouTube channel, Real Deal Podcast. You can check it out. This podcast should be up on YouTube anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes after it's aired. We'll also, of course, be on Blog Talk Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple.itunes.com, and a number of various other platforms over the course of the throughout the over on the internet, and also with the social media, I'll put clips up on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Of course, today marked the kind of a bow on the Kobe Bryant celebration memorial. You had that down. You had that in Staples Center this afternoon. Well, depending on this morning, if you were, of course, on the West Coast, 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock Eastern. Excuse me, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern time, where the memorial started in Staples Center. It was a who's list of stars, ex teammates, celebrities, entertainers who all paid their final respects to one Kobe Bryant and Gianna Bryant, and also, of course, the seven other victims that tragically lost their lives on January 26th. And it, was everything I thought it would be. Um, Everybody being handpicked to speak. I actually expected more speakers, but I mean, if you want to go by how many people that Vanessa Bryant and the family could have asked to speak, I mean, they'd have been there for, 15 hours. I'm sure there was a number of people number, sure there was a number of people who wanted to speak, who could have spoke, who they could have asked, along with the people that ended up speaking. But it made perfect sense in terms of who spoke. Vanessa Bryant, again, you cannot imagine what she is going through right now. It was just a reminder. I know she had came out with some Instagram posts and some statements over the past couple of weeks. After being silent for I think basically the first week after it happened, understandably so. But it was just a constant reminder of what she's dealing with right now, in losing her husband of over 20 years, and her daughter, her 13-year-old daughter. I just thought she handled herself as eloquently, and as just her strength. It was just you can't that is an impossible spot to be in, no matter how much support you have around you with friends and family. Because you think about it, they've had a private ceremony on February 7th. Okay, so you deal with January 26th, you deal with that, attempt to process that, then then you have to plan for the private funeral, then you have to plan for this. I'm sure she had a part of this. She had she had her hands in this, rightfully so. So that is, to say it's a lot is an understatement, but she handled herself as well as you can possibly handle yourself in that particular spot. We'll have some more news on her a little bit later as well, as it was something that came out from a legal standpoint that I'm going to I'm going to talk about later on in the podcast. But again, it was a who's list of stars. I thought that the young lady who plays for Oregon, Sabrina Nascu, who's obviously a tremendous player in her own right, All American, will be in the WNBA without question. Her speech was eloquent. It was subtle. It was straight to the point. But in terms of how her relationship with Kobe Bryant, and that I really was impressed by. How she handled herself up there. Michael Jordan was tremendous. I mean, Michael Jordan, we talked about Michael Jordan kind of being, after he retired, kind of being, not known for public speaking as far as not so much being showing emotion and things of that nature. I thought Jordan's speech was heartfelt, and I thought it was genuine as genuine could be, and it was pure Jordan. It was pure Jordan, and you kind of got a taste into the relationship, of course, from his perspective. We always knew how close he and Kobe Bryant were. But you always got it from Kobe. More than like, majority of the time, you would get it from Kobe's perspective in terms of how much he revered Michael Jordan. But it was good to see Jordan really open himself up in terms of how important Kobe Bryant was to him and how important that friendship, that relationship, that friendship was. Again, it was. I'm surprised that I was surprised that Magic didn't speak. I was surprised that Magic didn't speak. I was surprised that Jeannie Buss didn't speak. Those are the two those are two that I kind of expected to speak. I knew Jerry West was not going to speak. Jerry West was too close to Kobe Bryant. I didn't expect him to speak, but I was kind of surprised that Magic or Jeannie Buss didn't speak. But of course, Magic had he did enough talking during the Portland Trailblazer game where they celebrated Kobe, the first Laker game, home game after the following following Kobe's death. So he did a lot with that. He did a lot with that, but I was surprised that Magic didn't. I was expecting to get Magic or Genie Bus, but again, it was a who's who's list of players, current, ex NBA legends. I mean, anybody who was anybody was there. Um, you saw a bunch of Spurs there with their, Popovich and Ginobili and Parker and Tim Duncan. Kind of reminds you, brought back memories of those great games that the Spurs and Lakers used to play in the early to mid 2000s, late 90s to early 2000s. With Shaq, Kobe, and Tim Duncan. Again, saw generations even current and future. Devin Booker was there. You saw, of course, Kyrie Irving was there, and it was just remarkable just to see how many people were all connected connected because of Kobe Bryant and the generations and just how many people. Forget about the entertainment part. I'm just talking about from a basketball standpoint. The amount of generations that all were somehow that he all somehow either played against or were just respected what he contributed to the game of basketball. And now if you're Vanessa Bryant, this time everything is kind of, and for the family as well. Joe Bryant and his wife and his sisters, of course. This probably has to be the most difficult time now after all this has settled in regards once you get past this point of dealing with everyday life day in and day out without Kobe Bryant and without their granddaughter, or niece or cousin, and Gianna Bryant. Um, Again, I thought this was well planned out. I thought it was well. The performances were fine with the performances. Alicia Keys and Beyonce, and again, I'm not the biggest Jimmy Kimmel fan. I don't watch the show, but he was asked to speak. He was asked to do that particular job, by the family, and he did a nice job. He allowed it to breathe. He didn't try to include too much of his own, you know, uh, entertainment value or his personality, his own personality. And he really allowed. And again, he's a host of a late night talk show. He has been for the better part of well over a decade. So he knows how to. This is probably the toughest job that he's ever had in his life in terms of hosting. But he knows what he's doing from that standpoint as a host from that in terms of that skill set. So I thought he was probably did a nice job. And again, overall, it was a well run and fluid ceremony. Really didn't have any parts, but I thought it dragged where I thought it dragged along. I DVR'd it, thought that I when I came home. I thought I would skip a number of parts. I didn't skip a lot of parts. I didn't skip. I skipped the beginning, the end, because I DVR'd it off NBA TV. So I didn't hear. I skipped the beginning parts of that where you had Matt Weiner and Jimmy Jackson skipped and went directly to the ceremony. But I thought the ceremony again was just well put together, and just the idea that he's gone, that Kobe Bryant is gone, is something that seeing the 1978-2020 is still something that just does not seem real. But yeah, but he's gone. It's just it's one of those things that again this was a celebrity death or a sports death that I don't think I can't remember any celebrity or sports death that has even approached this. The impact of this even a month later. It's been a month now. January 26th. It was a month on Sunday that he's been gone, and again, it still seems like it's fresh in everybody's mindset, fresh in everybody in the sports world and in the entertainment world as well. So you had that going on today, of course. Throughout the course of the day, ceremony is about 2.5 hours with all the performances and all the with all the speakers. So and it was and it made perfect sense last night, not last night, but yesterday afternoon that you had Lakers and Celtics, in which was a classic basketball game. It was an absolute it was a tremendous game. It was great to watch. When the NBA is much better off when the Lakers and Celtics are both good. It really is. And last night yesterday afternoon, early evening, you saw a classic game, which to me was more about thinking about the Lakers. Lakers should have won the game. They're at home. They're playing, Celtics were shorthanded, no Kemba Walker. Um, but to me, that game was about Jason Tatum. And Jason Tatum, over the last month, maybe longer, has been one of the top 10 players in the league. I mean, he's played on that type of level. He's going from a budding star to a guy who you may be able to win a championship with as your best player. That potential does exist. I mean, at worst, he could be the second best player on the team um, that could win a championship. At worst, he may be able to even be the best player on the team. Maybe not right now, but I'm just projecting 2 to 3 years down the road. Remember, he's only 21 years old. He put on an absolute show against the Lakers. They had no answers for him whatsoever. You saw the respect that was garnered by him from LeBron James. He's hitting shots over everybody. He's hitting shots over Anthony Davis, whoever they put on him. They threw the kitchen sink at him. It did not matter. He, put up 41 points, and he was easily, easily. And LeBron and Anthony Davis played well. Played Davis is great. LeBron played well, but he was easily the best player on the floor yesterday, easily. And you're talking about he's on the floor with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Jalen Brown. He was easily the best player on the floor. There was no question about it. And if you're a Celtic fan, you have that for the next 10 years, along with Jalen Brown. Celtics are not that far away. Again, I don't think the Celtics are a championship team this year. I don't think they can get out the East, but I would not want to see them in the playoffs. They will be a tough out in the playoffs come springtime. Come late April, early May. They're going to be a tough out to deal with. Once they get Kemba Walker back healthy, Tatum can be a closer. People were concerned that Kemba Walker was too small as a point guard to be a closer in the playoffs. They have a closer. Jason Tatum can be that closer in the playoffs, in the postseason. There's no question about it. So he was tremendous. Um, we briefly on my Thursday thoughts, touched on the Kyrie Irving um, situation. Of course, he is down for the season. He's going to get shoulder surgery. When I first heard the news on that, and I'm projecting towards next year for the Brooklyn Nets and when Kevin Durant gets back healthy, I thought about Kevin Durant, and I thought about the fact that if you're Kevin Durant, there's no way. Now he'll never come out and publicly say this, but there's no way in the world that you are not second guessing that decision. Like there's no way in the world that you, I mean, Kyrie Irving is only I was only 27 years old. He's only 27 years old. He has been in he has had a litany of injuries going back to college. You know, he played what? He played 11 games at Duke, and there have been knee injuries, shoulder, um, it's just a litany of injuries that just not on that just have you shaking your head to the point to where I don't think Kyrie Irving will ever be fully healthy. I don't think Kyrie Irving will ever play 70 games in a season, maybe not even ever play 65 games in a season. And if you look at the history of the NBA, these guys, when guys start off their careers getting pick up these injuries, they don't improve to multiple parts of their bodies. Look at Penny Hardaway, look at the Grant Hills of the world, look at Derrick Rose, look at Darren Williams, Blake Griffin, just to name a few. Um, I don't think it's going to get any better as he gets older. Even he is the he should be the poster child moving forward for load management. Absolutely, there's no question about it. If they're not coming up with a load management plan for him right now, they're just dumb. If you're the Brooklyn Nets franchise, and again, Kevin Durant, unlike Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, he doesn't have a 2 year out. He is locked in for the next 3 years. He will not be a free agent until he's 35 years old. So he's locked in from 21, 22, 21 through 23. So that situation, I would not trust that situation moving forward. Again, everybody's talking about if they're healthy. I think Kevin Durant be fine. I don't trust Kyrie Irving. And I'm not even talking about, and I haven't got to the stuff, the locker room stuff in terms of how are they going to mesh in terms of personalities and that leadership. Let's put that aside. I'm putting that aside for a second. I'm not even talking about that right now. I'm talking about these two guys staying healthy for the next 2 to 3 years. Again, Kevin Durant has had a couple of injuries here and there, but for the most part, he has been durable for the most part, the better part of his career. And he has more mileage than Kyrie. He's been in the finals, um, been in the finals 4 times in his career. Played, this would have been year what 12, year 12 for him. So he has more mileage than Kyrie, but he's still been way more durable. It's not even close. I don't trust Kyrie moving forward as far as his durability. I don't see him. I cannot trust him for 65 games and a long playoff run. I just can't. So they have some serious issues for that franchise moving forward without question. And again, they knew this when they were taking. They knew this when they were taking the chance back free agency. That's why this had to be a package deal with Kyrie, with him and Kevin Durant. This had to be part of this. Had to be this had you couldn't just sign Kyrie. So you had to sign Kevin. You had to sign Kevin Durant as well. So that's just what if you're Kevin Durant, the decision is going to look worse and worse as the years go along. You could have won 3, 4, who knows how many more championships with Golden State, and you would have been You would have been the best player on that team. Forget about whose city it is. Forget about the fan base loving Steph Curry. You would have been, without question, the best player on that team. On a team that could have won. Again, you could have had Kevin Durant could have had easily 5 or 6 championships easily. So that's a decision I think that is not going to age well moving forward. If you're Kevin Durant, I don't care what he says. He left championships on the table, no question about it. As far as the fight this weekend, I'm not surprised that Tyson Fury won the fight. I picked Fury to win the fight in a unanimous decision. Thought it would go the distance. I thought that there would come a time where Wilder would knock Fury down, and I thought Wilder would get up. And I wanted to see, unlike the 12th round or unlike late in the previous fight, he knocked him down twice late in the fight, and particularly in the 12th round. Thought he would get him early, and I thought Fury would get up, and I wanted to see how Wilder would respond to him getting up, and that idea of the fact that you can't knock this dude out because he would have gotten up 3 times in the last 2 fights against one of the most powerful punches in the boxing. Well, the most powerful punch, that overhand right in boxing right now, one of the most powerful punches in the history of boxing. But little did I know, it would be Wilder who was on the wrong end of just outright just ass whooping. Um, Fury dominated this fight basically from start to finish. Give Fury this fight was about Tyson Fury. The adjustment that he made coming at Wilder, basically cutting his legs off, basically cutting like neutralizing Wilder's right hand, neutralizing Wilder's reach, um, turned it into an inside fight. He turned it into a fight. He turned it into a boxing fight. Wilder is clear. Fury is by far and away a better boxer, more skilled boxer than Deontay Wilder is and probably will ever be. Deontay Wilder is not a spring chicken for a boxer. He's not. He's 34 years old. There are skills that he just not is not going to be able to add to the that he's not going to be able to add um, late in this stage of his career. Now, that overhand right hand has made him tens of millions of dollars. It got him multiple world championships. So you can't knock that right hand for too much. That is one of the most powerful weapon in boxing right now. But the bottom line is he got exposed. I mean, he got exposed for not being a skilled fighter. And when you run up against somebody like a Tyson Fury who is unorthodox but is highly skilled, what happens is going to happen. I thought Fury won the first fight. To be honest with you, I thought Fury won the first fight, and I was surprised how many people were just made it out to be like a foregone conclusion that Wilder was going to knock Fury out. I said couldn't knock him out the first time. Why is he going to knock him out this time? I mean, Fury clearly has shown that he could take Wilder's best punch. He took it twice, and got up both times. So, I thought that people were kind of like, I don't know. I think we people wanted to elevate Wilder to this next level that he's not on. Like Wilder is not an all-time great heavyweight. Period. Fury has a chance to be. Fury is only 31, and he has room. He can if Fury comes out, beats Anthony Joshua, and then dominates this sport for the next 3 or 4 years. He's going to go down as an all-time heavyweight champion, one of the all-time greats, clearly. And he has the skill to back it up. He can knock guys out. He can also fight a technical, methodical fight, take you apart from that standpoint. Can make adjustments. Is a smart fighter. Not to say Wilder is not a smart fighter, but Wilder has not added to that nuclear weapon that he has as an overhand right. That overhand right, he hasn't added to that. Again, you can blame him for that. You can blame his trainers for his people's around him for that. But again, I don't think Deontay Wilder is an all time great fighter. And I didn't think that before this fight. And I can understand. You kind of fall in love with the allure of the knockout, similar to the home run hit to a home run hitter. And what you don't look at is how many times that home run hitter strikes out. And Wilder is a feast or famine guy. Now we hadn't seen any famine because the heavyweight division is okay. They're not that many guys. There weren't guys who could expose Wilder like a Tyson Fury. There's only one Tyson Fury in the heavyweight division. All these other guys are decent to below average fighters. Even Anthony Joshua is not that good to me. Joshua Parker, those guys like that, Ortiz, Ruiz, these guys, they're okay. They're decent. They're not great. They're not great by any stretch of the imagination. Now, The question with that now, Wilder may exercise that clause that he has in his contract for the guy who for the loser of the fight, where he could exercise a clause in his contract that can get him a rematch with Fury. If somebody actually cares about Deontay Wilder, he would fight someone else or maybe a couple tune-up fights before he fights Fury. Tyson Fury should not be Deontay Wilder's next fight, not by a long shot. So if anybody around in his corner, or his people's around him want him to have a somewhat extended career, his next fight should not be Tyson Fury, because Tyson, you think about it, they fought 12 rounds the first fight. They fought seven of those 19 rounds. Fury's probably won about 14 or 15 of them, if not more. I mean that was Saturday night. And I did not expect that fight. I did not expect the fight to go that way. I really didn't. There's no way under any circumstances that I thought Fury would dominate him to a point to where he would stop him as basically with a TKO. I did not expect that. Thought he would win the fight. Thought he would methodically kind of pick him apart. Um, I think Fury's a better. I just think Fury's a better boxer. And I've seen Fury take his best punch and get up. But I didn't, that was just, he totally just outclassed him. He totally just, forget about outboxing. We know that, but it was just, he looked like, Wilder looked like he didn't belong in the same ring as Tyson Fury. Now, be interesting to see um, Fury from this point on. Um, I think that the sport of boxing would have rather had Wilder win because he's American and maybe is more marketable from that standpoint. But I think Fury with his personality, he has everybody likes a comeback story. We know he dealt with the mental health problems in the past, was almost out of the sport. Um, it's a great comeback story, great story. He has a lot of personality, as we all know. So, he's somebody that can be marketed. Listen, if you're boxing, you're looking for that next. No, I don't know what Floyd Mayweather is going to do. Who knows if he's going to fight again? I think he probably will. But if you are, if you are boxing, um, you can turn Fury. Fury can be a superstar with his personality. He can be a superstar, and his style is not like he's not like a defensive whiz like Mayweather or like a Bernard Ackman. So his fights are not boring, or even to a lesser extent like an Andre Ward. So you can he does have there's excitement to his style of fighting. So again, I was shocked to see how that fight went. Even though I thought Fury would win the fight. That's gonna wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast. As always, you can find this podcast on my YouTube channel. 20 minutes after it's aired, I will see you, or you'll hear from me later in the week. I'm out.